you fight how you spar. You spar how you fight. And if I'm in there just doing this, catch, then when the fight come and everything is full blast, full speed, I'm not gonna be able to keep up because I didn't train that way.
Right.
I can hit the bag, I can hit the mitts, all that I want, but nothing's coming back.
Right.
I'm not feeling that presence of a person pushing me, hitting me, holding me, things like that. So sparring is very important.
They refer to it as the quiet battle. Bud Crawford is in a thin air room long before the lights and the roar come on, where every breath is expensive and every action is timed like a chess move. Bud changed stances the way other fighters change socks as Bobbick watched like a coach and a historian combined. He converted orthodox into southpaw so fluidly that it seemed like the same blow was delivered from two distinct time zones.
Did they?
My coach, he used to always, he used to get mad, like, you need to focus on one stance and doing it right before you start switching. You ain't even got the orthodox stance down packed all the way, and then you trying to go southpaw. I'm like, all right. Then I go orthodox, and then in the fight, boom, I switch. Then I switch back. He like, stop switching, and then I win the fight. Like, what?
Study aids, mirror patterns, and angles are used to select sparring partners. Altitude runs help build lung endurance, and a well-thought-out strategy subtly adds weight without taking away his snap. He trains using a ledger that no one can view throughout this time. A record of insults, underestimates, and a hunger that will not be satisfied with mere remembrance. It demands to be remembered.
When did he stop telling you to stop switching?
When I was winning. he was like, all right, since I can't stop you from switching, we just gonna train that way. So yeah, if you do 4 rounds, you're gonna do 2 rounds southpaw, you're gonna do 2 rounds orthodox. That's just how we started training.
Crawford said, sparring with a kind of raw honesty that makes you understand why he's so dangerous, on Joe Ryan's show. He views sparring as more than just a warm-up or light workout. It's the prelude to the actual battleground. Since he thinks you fight exactly like you spar, he submits himself to sessions 3 days a week that mimic the ferocity of an actual bout. He claimed that striking the bag or the mitts doesn't get you ready for the pressure of a man trying to control you by hitting you, holding you, and pushing your boundaries.
And not saying that you have to, go hard every single time you spar, but there got to be days where, that fighter is trying to put it on you because now you're getting used to that. And now your body is getting in shape to withstand the rounds, the time, the grappling, the holding, the hitting, all that. So you need that.
His sparring is therefore authentic, harsh, and intense. Crawford honed the instincts and fortitude that keep him going in the bright lights during those demanding rounds, not in the glitz of the gym cameras. Additionally, he stated, you'll drown on fight night if you coast in sparring. Crawford doesn't consider every round to be practice. It's survival preparedness.
How do you judge when you're doing too much hard sparring?
Your body will tell you. I'm a firm believer in listening to my body.
Crawford and his mentors have had a deeper connection from the start than just business. Family is involved. These aren't merely instructors yelling commands from the corner. From a hungry lad swinging wildly in the gym to the pound-for-pound king, they have been with him since he was a little child. They are therefore well familiar with him. Sometimes even more so than he is aware of himself. They can hear it in his breathing, see it in his body breaking down, or observe that his footwork appears to be a half-beat slower.
So they've been around me since I was a kid, so they know when my body is breaking down or when I'm complaining about something. Bo would be like, all right, well, we're going to do this today. Or we're going to do this today. And I'll be like, man, what? He'd be like, we're going to do this today. I'd be like, man, I don't want to do that, man. I want to work. Because as a fighter, I want to work hard every day.
Crawford could desire to grind, push, and spar every day. His instructors, however, are aware of when to pull him back and when to say, enough. You take it easy today. Because he believes their eyes are more perceptive than his own, Crawford doesn't challenge their call, upholding a decades-old trust. And that lifelong bond is what keeps him balanced, fresh, and dangerous on fight night in a sport where overtraining can destroy a career.
Some days they're gonna say, man, you ain't got no energy today. Did you eat? Some days I'll be like, no, I didn't eat before I came. Oh, I can tell, you know, or you're moving kind of slow. You all right? You know, so it's very important that you be honest with your coaches as well.
The majority of fighters are really weak. Men can be seen spitting into cups, sweating profusely in saunas, wrapped in plastic, and losing the battle before the first bell has even rung. Terence Crawford, however, changed the course of events. He won't drag himself to the scale half dead by the time weigh-in day arrives. He's there already. No last-minute scrambling, no panic cuts, no sacrificing everything for weight.
So when you weigh in, that's natural.
Yeah, and like the day of the weigh-ins, I'm not cutting none.
That's beautiful.
I used to have to cut like 5 pounds in the morning of the weigh-ins. You know,
and did you feel that the next day?
Nah, not really. Sometimes.
He plans his meals, schedules his training, cuts smart weeks in advance, and remains composed while everyone else is in pain. For him, the scale is not a battlefield, but rather a formality. That is his discipline's secret advantage. At 168, the contest doesn't begin. It begins months in advance, when the majority of his competitors are still catching up with their own physical capabilities.
I try to make weight, you know, at least the night before, so I can sleep as long as possible till the weigh-ins, and you know, go from there.
Man, Crawford is freezing himself in ice baths as if he were preparing for a polar bear championship, and then all of a sudden, things change because Jiren Boots Ennis has just revealed his version of the Canelo sparring experience. Furthermore, this isn't your typical sparring story, believe me. As if it were a vacation package, Boots is out here discussing fishing with Canelo. Don't get it wrong, though. This man's first bout at 154 is approaching, and he's stating knockout as if it were already scheduled. The best part is that he doesn't give a damn about criticism, trolls on Twitter, or rumors.
Yeah. People gonna kill me if I don't. How was the work?
The work was great. You know, the work was great. You know, like I said, I had a great time. We was having fun. You know, I love being in there with Canelo. It was a great thing.
That is barbaric. When sparring with the boxing world's most famous fighter is just another Tuesday for him, you can tell he's tuned in. We can all agree that that kind of confidence is what makes the division so exciting. And let's be honest, okay? Not everyone has the opportunity to even share rounds with Canelo, much less leave grinning as if they had just spent a day at the spa. Boots returned saying, "Yeah, it was cool. I traded hands with a legend and caught a few fish. Not a huge deal." That confidence is insane. At every barbecue, the majority of boxers would frame that sparring glove and share the tale throughout the remainder of their days. However, Boots is already glancing at October 11th and saying, "No, here is when the real history begins." As you and I both know, a fighter is preparing something risky for fight night when he treats Canelo sparring like warm-up laps.
Expect this kind of attention from a sparring session?
I already knew it was gonna go crazy. You know, once we posted the pick, I'm like, yo, this junk gonna go everywhere. We kind of like figured it, and you know, it kind of, I guess you could say it made the fight more interesting.
Man, just when you thought the room was trembling from Nenny's speech. Sliding in, Shakur Stevenson said, "Hold my Gatorade. I have something to say." Additionally, the manner he retaliated against Punch Drunk. It wasn't a discussion. That was a verbal uppercut. Watching this with you felt more like two guys preparing to wager the rent money on push-ups than it did like boxing discussion. Additionally, Shakur has a calm voice and is slick with it, but you can tell he's daring someone to put him to the test. It looked like, "Say one more slick word and I'm pulling out receipts. I swear, bro."
I said, I think that it's gonna come down to the IQ and the skill of Bud anyway. I think that Canelo in that high guard, and once Bud turns southpaw and stay long on him, I think that's gonna be real.
Since it's more than just ring bouts these days, we fans adore this spirit. On the microphone are chess games. It's checks of pride. Before I outbox you, I'll outtalk you. And in my opinion, that level of assurance gives you a clear indication of Shocker's current situation. Astute, bold, and already planning 3 steps in advance. The crazy aspect is that he's discussing Crawford versus Canelo as if he were scouting for a backyard sparring match on the weekend. No fear, all IQ. You can sense that confidence radiating through the screen, I promise. I see the giants, for example. I'm still making my own decisions, but I can see the hoopla. These times when someone simply won't be silent are what we've all been waiting for.
Skills win fights and weight don't.
But that's Canelo, though.
Man, I don't care. That's Bud.
I know that's Bud, but that's Canelo, though.
The way you just said Canelo name, you gotta say Bud name the same.
Bud for 147, 154, but that's Canelo 168.
Shakur is also doing it without a filter and with style. With all that confidence, you almost forget he's talking about boxing and not running for mayor. The best part is that he's clearly enjoying himself while focusing on the true goal while hurling verbal combinations. Both in the talk and in the ring, show respect. Hold on, yo. Alonso Gomez drops truth bombs scorching than a Canelo punch just when you thought the talk about cosmic energy and divine feelings was at its hottest. I mean, Canelo and this man both wore the same ring. He's not just talking, then. He has experienced the turmoil firsthand, felt its strength, and lived it. Then jokingly speculates that Crawford would genuinely startle Canelo and possibly send him to dreamland in the middle of a battle, rather than merely dancing with him. We've heard prophecies before, I promise, but this one has that did he just say that energy, I wonder?
Canelo is going to win. But I predict that Crawford is going to stunt him, drop him, something like that nobody has ever done. That's what I predict. That in itself could make Crawford get a split decision or a majority decision.
You sense the confidence. Alfonso isn't playing nice, so I'm leaning in. Like a boxing psychic hotline operator, he is dissecting patterns, hooks, and cosmic vibes. The best part is that he's delivering us direct, tremendous Canelo's divine watch fireworks feelings without ever requiring a disclaimer or asterisk. You'll be like, yo, I need popcorn and holy water, after seeing this, I promise. Additionally, pay attention to how Alonso compares Crawford to a precise small ball and Canelo to a massive ball of power. He's essentially transforming this altercation into a lesson in physics that might be a knockout. I already imagine us shouting, Crawford, time that hook like we're coaches in the corner, at the TV. He's providing us with the footwork, intensity, mentality, and insider knowledge that lets us know this fight is about more than just punches. Chess on steroids, if you will.
I see Canelo winning on a split decision, majority decision, because it's going to be a close fight, and Crawford is going to stunt him or do something like that. That's what I.
Is Canelo still as good as the one that you fought in the ring?
I think he's better. Yeah, I think he has fine-tuned his style.
Additionally, the scene where Canelo gets under his own skin, dude, is a combination of comedy and drama because Crawford will likely remain composed and sip water while planning the ideal shot. We're not merely witnessing a brawl, man. We're seeing what may be a cinematic moment where talent and soul collide. Additionally, Crawford might, just might, change the script. Man, after all is said and done, this is more than just a fight. Styles, energy, and philosophies collide. Canelo's raw strength, business swagger, and battle IQ contrasted with Crawford's accuracy, discipline, and divine vibrations. There will be fireworks, no doubt about it.do, you sense me? This goes beyond simply landing punches. When the bell rings, it all comes down to timing, attentiveness, and who has the mental advantage. Remember that we have first-hand accounts from those who have experienced these moments, shared the ring, and been there. We are receiving the cheat codes from them. Leave a comment with your ideas. Let's get that discussion going. Is anyone taking it? Canelo's chaotic power or Crawford's divine calm? Additionally, remember to subscribe, like, and share Boxing Headquarters. You won't want to miss the next round of heat, I promise. We create material like this every week. Fight aficionados, see you at the next one.